somewhere on Earth, there are trees that bleed red sap like wounded creatures. Trees older than human civilization itself. And forests so strange, they barely feel connected to our world anymore. Some survive in deserts where rain almost never falls. Others grow in isolated ecosystems untouched for millions of years. And a few look so impossible. Scientists once struggled to explain how they could even survive. But every tree in this video is real. Hidden across remote islands, ancient mountains, flooded forests, and tropical rainforests? Nature has quietly been creating forms of life more surreal than science fiction. Today, we explore the strangest trees ever discovered on Earth. 15. Spider trees. In 2010, catastrophic flooding across Pakistan submerged entire regions underwater for months. More than 20 million people were affected. But hidden inside the flooded forests, something even stranger began to happen. Millions of spiders climbed upward into the trees to escape the rising water. And because the floodwaters receded so slowly, the spiders remained there for weeks. Then months. Gradually, their webs began covering the branches entirely. Entire forests transformed into ghostly white structures wrapped in silk. From a distance, the trees looked frozen inside giant cocoons. The atmosphere became deeply unsettling. Fog drifted through the web, covered canopies while countless spiders moved silently across the tangled threads. Yet despite the nightmare appearance, scientists noticed an unexpected side effect. Areas with heavy web coverage experienced unusually low malaria cases. The giant webs appeared to trap massive numbers of mosquitoes breeding in stagnant floodwater. Nature had accidentally created a gigantic insect control system. And even today, the images of those spider-covered trees remain some of the strangest ever recorded in the natural world. 14. Bujum tree. In the harsh deserts of Baja California and Sonora, Mexico, there are trees that look more like giant roots ripped upside down from the earth. The bujum tree grows in one of the driest environments in North America, where summer temperatures regularly exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Rainfall here can remain absent for months. Yet somehow, these bizarre trees survive. Most reach between 40 and 70 feet tall while balancing on narrow tapering trunks that often curve dramatically toward the sky. Their strange shape helps reduce direct sunlight exposure while conserving moisture inside the plant. During flowering season, small yellow blossoms emerge from spiny branches and release a honey-like scent that attracts insects across the desert. But what makes the species even more mysterious is how isolated it is. Bujum trees naturally grow in only a tiny region of the world. And botanists still debate how the species spread across such extreme terrain. Standing alone beneath a burning desert sunset, they feel less like trees, and more like silent alien organisms watching over the landscape. 13. Jaboticaba tree. Most fruit trees hide their harvest among branches and leaves. The jaboticaba tree does the exact opposite. Native to Brazil, Paraguay, Bolivia, and parts of Argentina, this slow, growing tree produces dark purple fruits directly from its trunk. Not from branches. Not from vines. The bark itself. When fully fruiting, the trunk becomes covered in hundreds of glossy grape-like spheres. At first glance, the tree almost appears infected by strange organic growths. Most jaboticaba trees grow between 30 and 45 feet tall and can take nearly 8 to 10 years before producing their first fruits. But once mature, they may fruit several times a year under stable tropical conditions. Scientists believe the trunk-growing fruit evolved to help animals like monkeys and large mammals access the harvest more easily. The fruits themselves are highly prized throughout South America for their sweet flavor and pale jelly-like flesh. But there's one problem. Fresh jaboticaba spoils extremely quickly after harvest. Which means outside the regions where the trees naturally grow, very few people ever experience them fresh. And perhaps that rarity makes the tree feel even more extraordinary. Because some wonders of nature still cannot be mass-produced for the modern world. 12. Rainbow eucalyptus. Deep inside tropical forests in the Philippines, Indonesia, and Papua New Guinea, there are trees that appear painted by human hands. The rainbow eucalyptus can grow more than 250 feet tall, making it one of the tallest tropical trees on Earth. But height is not what made the species famous. Its bark is. As the outer bark peels away in strips, new layers beneath are revealed in brilliant shades of green, orange, crimson, blue, and purple. Fresh bark first appears bright green because of chlorophyll. Over time, it slowly darkens into deeper colors as the surface ages. Because different sections peel away at different times, multiple colors become visible simultaneously across the trunk. No two rainbow eucalyptus trees ever look exactly the same. Under humid rainforest light, their bark almost seems illuminated from within. And despite looking artificially painted, The colors are entirely natural. No chemicals. No mutations. No human intervention. Just biology creating something so visually impossible, it feels like evolution briefly became an artist. 11. Bristlecone pine. High in the White Mountains of California, at elevations above 10,000 feet, some of the oldest living organisms on Earth still cling to life. Bristlecone pine trees survive in freezing winds, rocky soil, and extreme drought conditions where few other species can endure. Some individuals are believed to be more than 4,800 years old. That means they were already ancient, before the Great Pyramid of Giza was even built. Their twisted trunks appear sculpted by centuries of brutal alpine storms. Much of the wood is already dead. Only narrow living veins continue carrying water and nutrients through the ancient bark. The harsh environment actually helps preserve them. Cold temperatures slow decay. Thin air limits pests. And poor soil reduces competition from faster-growing plants. Standing beside one feels strangely emotional. Because these trees are not simply surviving. They are witnesses from another era of Earth's history. Silent survivors from a world humanity can barely comprehend. 10. Dragon Blood Tree. Far from mainland Yemen, in the isolated Indian Ocean archipelago of Socotra, one of the strangest trees on Earth rises from the rocky plateau like a living alien structure. The dragon blood tree usually grows between 30 and 40 feet tall, but some ancient canopies spread more than 50 feet wide. Rainfall on Socotra is extremely scarce. In certain years, parts of the island receive less than 8 inches of rain. So over millions of years, these trees evolved one of nature's most unusual survival systems. Their upward, facing branches create dense umbrella-shaped crowns designed to capture moisture from fog and morning mist before it evaporates beneath the desert heat. The shape also provides shade for young seedlings struggling to survive in the harsh climate below. But what made the species legendary was the deep crimson resin hidden beneath its bark. When cut, the tree appears to bleed thick red liquid. Ancient civilizations traded this resin across the Middle East and Europe for medicine, dye, incense, varnish, and ritual practices. And as sunset slowly covers the cliffs of Socotra, thousands of dragon blood trees cast enormous shadows across the landscape. For a moment, Earth no longer feels familiar. It feels ancient, untouched, almost extraterrestrial. 9. Baobab Tree. Across Madagascar, mainland Africa, and parts of Australia, massive trees rise from the dry landscape like giant living monuments. Baobabs are often called upside-down trees, because their thick trunks and short branches resemble roots reaching into the sky. Some species grow more than 100 feet tall. Others develop trunks over 35 feet wide. And a few ancient individuals are believed to have survived for over 2,000 years. But the true secret of the baobab lies inside its enormous body. The trunk acts like a gigantic natural water reservoir. During wet seasons, a single tree can store more than 30,000 gallons of water inside its fibrous wood. That stored moisture allows the tree to survive brutal droughts that would kill most vegetation surrounding it. Entire ecosystems depend on these giants. Birds nest in their cavities. Animals feed on their fruit. Humans use the bark, leaves, and water-rich trunks for survival in dry regions. But today, many ancient baobabs are mysteriously collapsing. Scientists believe rising temperatures and prolonged droughts may be pushing even these resilient giants beyond their limits. And perhaps that's what makes them feel so emotional to witness. Because when standing beneath a baobab, you're not simply looking at a tree. You're standing beside one of Earth's oldest survivors. And realizing even giants are vulnerable to change. 8. Woolami Pine. Hidden deep inside a remote canyon system in Australia, there exists a tree so ancient. Scientists once believed it had vanished from Earth millions of years ago. The woolami pine is often called a living fossil. Before its discovery in 1994, the species was known only from prehistoric fossils dating back more than 90 million years. That means these trees already existed when dinosaurs still walked across the planet. Fewer than 100 mature woolami pines remain in the wild today. Their exact location is kept secret to protect the fragile population from disease and human disturbance. The trees grow inside narrow sandstone gorges hidden beneath dense Australian rainforest, where cool mist, shade, and constant humidity create a rare surviving microclimate. Most mature individuals reach between 80 and 130 feet tall, with dark unusual bark that resembles bubbling chocolate or melted volcanic rock. And unlike many modern conifers, woolami pines can regrow multiple trunks from their base after storms, fire, or damage. Scientists believe this ancient survival strategy may have helped the species endure catastrophic environmental changes across prehistoric Earth. Walking through the canyon where they survive feels strangely unreal. Towering cliffs block much of the sunlight above. Cold air drifts quietly through the narrow gorge. And the prehistoric trees rise silently through the mist like remnants from another geological age. For a moment, the modern world disappears. And it becomes possible to imagine a version of Earth that existed long before humanity ever arrived. Not reconstructed by museums. Not recreated by science fiction. But still alive. Hidden quietly inside the wilderness. 7. Flamboyant tree. In tropical regions around the world, there are moments each year when entire streets suddenly appear to catch fire. Not with flames, but with flowers. The flamboyant tree, native to Madagascar, produces enormous scarlet blossoms that can completely cover its canopy during flowering season. Most trees grow between 30 and 40 feet tall, with wide umbrella-shaped crowns stretching across roads, parks, and coastlines. Its delicate fern-like leaves create soft textures beneath explosions of vivid red and orange petals. From above, entire landscapes appear painted with fire. The tree became so admired for its beauty that humans spread it far beyond Madagascar into tropical and subtropical regions across the world. Today, it has become the national tree or symbolic flower in several countries. But despite its popularity, wild flamboyant trees are becoming increasingly rare in their native habitat because of deforestation and climate pressures. And perhaps that contradiction makes the species strangely emotional. A tree loved around the world, while slowly disappearing from the ecosystem where it first evolved. 6. Joshua tree. The Mojave Desert can feel almost lifeless. Summer temperatures often climb above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Rainfall is scarce. The soil is harsh. And strong desert winds constantly reshape the landscape. Yet somehow, Joshua trees survive here. These strange plants are actually members of the yucca family rather than traditional trees. Most grow between 15 and 40 feet tall, with twisted branches stretching outward beneath the desert sky like frozen arms. Their root systems can spread surprisingly deep underground searching for hidden moisture. And their narrow spiky leaves reduce water loss beneath relentless desert heat. At sunrise and sunset, their silhouettes barely look terrestrial. They resemble giant alien organisms scattered across endless valleys of stone and sand. But despite surviving for centuries in brutal desert conditions, Joshua trees now face an uncertain future. Scientists believe climate change may eliminate huge portions of their habitat within the next 100 years. And perhaps that's what makes these landscapes feel so haunting. Because viewers are not simply witnessing survival. They may be witnessing the slow disappearance of an entire ecosystem. 5. Tibetan cherry tree. Most trees lose their beauty during winter. The Tibetan cherry tree becomes even more extraordinary. Native to western China and the Himalayan regions, this relatively small species usually grows between 20 and 30 feet tall. But its true beauty only appears after the leaves fall away. As winter arrives, the bark begins to glow beneath cold light. Smooth copper-red surfaces reflect rain, mist, and frost like polished metal. Thin horizontal markings called lenticels allow gases to pass through the bark, while delicate peeling layers create constantly changing textures throughout the year. During foggy mornings, the tree almost appears illuminated from within. And against dark winter forests, its glowing bark feels strangely cinematic. Garden designers around the world value the Tibetan cherry because even in the coldest seasons, when most landscapes become lifeless and gray, this tree still creates warmth and color, quietly transforming winter into something beautiful. 4. Blue jacaranda. Every year, certain cities around the world briefly transform into oceans of violet light. Roads disappear beneath purple petals. Cars become covered in soft indigo dust. And entire neighborhoods glow beneath towering flowering canopies. This is the jacaranda bloom. Originally native to South America, blue jacaranda trees now grow across warm regions in Africa, Australia, Asia, and the southern United States. Most reach between 30 and 50 feet tall, with wide canopies filled with thousands of trumpet-shaped violet-blue flowers. In places like Pretoria, South Africa, more than 70,000 jacaranda trees bloom together each spring. The effect is almost dreamlike. Strong winds scatter petals through the streets like purple snowfall. Sunlight filters through glowing violet branches overhead. And for a few brief weeks, entire cities stop feeling ordinary. But like many of nature's most beautiful moments, the bloom does not last long. The flowers quickly fall away. And the surreal purple landscape disappears almost as suddenly as it arrived. Perhaps that temporary beauty is what makes the experience so emotional. Because viewers are not simply seeing a tree. They are witnessing a moment nature creates, then quietly erases again. 3. Kapok tree. Deep inside the Amazon rainforest, some trees grow so enormous they seem to support the jungle canopy itself. The kapok tree can rise more than 200 feet into the humid tropical air, making it one of the tallest rainforest trees on Earth. Its trunk often reaches 10 feet or more in diameter, supported by gigantic buttress roots that spread outward like the walls of an ancient fortress. But getting closer reveals something even stranger. Sharp spikes cover much of the bark. These defensive structures help protect the tree from climbing animals while reducing damage to its trunk. High above the forest floor, seed pods eventually burst open and release soft cotton-like fibers into the air. Those fibers help carry seeds across enormous distances through the rainforest ecosystem. At night, when mist drifts through the jungle and moonlight cuts through the canopy, kapok trees become deeply atmospheric silhouettes emerging from darkness. Many indigenous cultures throughout South America considered them sacred. Some believed spirits lived within them. And standing beneath one in silence, it becomes surprisingly easy to understand why. 2. Sakura Blossom Tree. For just a few days each spring, Japan transforms into a world of soft pink light. Millions of cherry blossom trees bloom almost simultaneously across the country. From Tokyo to Kyoto, parks, rivers, temples, and mountains become covered beneath delicate clouds of pale pink flowers. Known as sakura, these trees usually grow between 20 and 40 feet tall depending on the variety. Japan alone contains more than 200 cultivated forms developed over centuries. But the blossoms are not admired simply because they are beautiful. They represent something deeper. The flowers bloom brilliantly, then disappear almost immediately. Wind scatters the petals across rivers and streets like falling snow. And within days, the trees return to green. For over 1,000 years, Japanese culture has viewed sakura as a symbol of life's impermanence. A reminder that beauty exists precisely because it cannot last forever. Every spring, millions gather beneath the trees during a tradition known as hanami. Families sit together beneath the blossoms to eat, drink, and quietly appreciate the briefness of the bloom. And perhaps that emotional connection is what makes sakura feel so powerful. Because these trees do more than decorate landscapes. They remind people how temporary every beautiful moment truly is. 1. The Great Banyan. Hidden within the Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose Botanical Garden in India, there is a tree so enormous, many visitors mistake it for an entire forest. The Great Banyan is more than 250 years old. Its canopy spreads across over 4 acres of land. And thousands of aerial roots descend from the branches, eventually thickening into trunk-like pillars that support the expanding structure. From above, the tree resembles a miniature ecosystem rather than a single organism. Birds nest within its branches. Insects thrive beneath its shade. Small pathways disappear through labyrinths of hanging roots and twisting columns. Remarkably, the original central trunk was removed long ago after becoming infected by disease. Yet the tree continued growing. Today, it survives as a massive interconnected network capable of supporting itself across an enormous area. Walking beneath the canopy feels deeply surreal. The outside world slowly disappears. Sunlight breaks through small openings overhead. The temperature cools beneath the dense foliage. And every direction reveals more roots descending like ancient pillars from the sky. It no longer feels like standing beneath a tree. It feels like entering something alive on a completely different scale. A reminder that nature's greatest creations are not always the tallest, or the most colorful. Sometimes, they are simply the ones that make humanity feel small again. Across deserts, mountains, rainforests, and isolated islands, nature has spent millions of years quietly experimenting. And the result is a planet filled with living organisms so strange, they still challenge our imagination today. Some survive through resilience. Others through isolation. And a few became so unusual, they almost stopped feeling connected to the natural world we thought we understood. But perhaps the most incredible part is knowing Earth still contains forests humanity has barely explored. Still ecosystems hidden beyond mountains, jungles, and deserts. And somewhere out there tonight, another unbelievable tree may already exist in silence, waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this cinematic journey through Earth's strangest trees, subscribe to CurioVerse Wild for more explorations into the rare, beautiful, and unbelievable wonders of our planet. Because nature is far stranger than fiction will ever be.